Hello everyone, my name is Paul Dell, I'm a partner here at Raffingers, and welcome to episode 7 of our series Securing Your Financial Future. Today we're looking at equity release and the comeback it's making over the past couple of years. In the past it's had some horrendous press in the days of negative equity, but new rules, new regulations and more players in the market is now making a bit of a comeback and can be used in certain situations very effectively. So Lawrence from Tavistock is here with me, and Lawrence is going to take us through what the product is and the pros and cons. And Lawrence, over to you.
Thanks very much, Paul. You're right, equity release still suffers from a big reputational damage in terms of what happened in the early 90s when we had home income plans, sky-high interest rates, surprises being found on death when someone was told, oh, you still owe us money when mum had died and was taking money out of the house. Fortunately, those days are long gone now. Pretty much all of the products on the market at present are approved by the Equity Release Council, and the ERC has a certain number of standards that apply to all of the products. So the primary one is that there's no negative equity guarantee. You can't be left in a situation where no matter how long the loan is in place for, it can never be worth more than the house. The second thing is that all interest rates are fixed for life, which in the current environment where we're looking at equity release interest rates in the region of 2.5%, 2.3%, to have that rate fixed for life, it does certainly make the product more attractive. Like you said, over the past 6 years, I'd say the number of providers in the market has increased dramatically. There has been intense competition between them, and obviously everyone knows where interest rates are in the broader market, but with that competition as well, we've seen the interest rates collapse from 6 to 2.5, like I said. So the market has become much more competitive. We live in a country where over the past 20 years, I suppose one of the greatest asset class performance has been residential property, especially if you're in the southeast of England or the London area. It's not uncommon nowadays for people to be sitting on homes which are, 6, 7, 800,000 that were bought modestly for maybe £40,000 in the early 1990s. With the dropping off of defined benefit pensions, which is going to be disappearing pretty much as baby boomers retire, modest defined contribution pension pots, and a home which is worth maybe close to £1 million, equity release is going to become much more commonplace as a means of supplementing retirement income, especially when you can have products which are flexible, competitive, and can be tailored to suit the client's circumstances. So the range of products and providers has mushroomed, and now, whereas the taboo that was associated with equity release before, which more or less meant that you're down to your last couple of pennies and you're having to tap up the house for money, that has gone. Financial planners like us at Tavistock will now consider using equity release as a part of an overall financial plan using cash flow modelling, where we will combine pension, perhaps taking money from the house, and perhaps use it as well, of course, in estate planning. Because obviously, if you do have an IHT situation, when there's a debt against the house on death, that can reduce the inheritance tax liability. So you'll come across clients who will decide to use it in that way as well. For the range of products that we have, we still have the standard lump sum fixed for life drawdown product, where someone approaches us and says they need to have a large lump sum. That could be maybe perhaps because they want to make gifts to their children in their lifetime while they're still there. They'll say there's no point in me, dying at 90 when I've got 2 kids who could really use a leg up on the property ladder now. Your house is worth, let's say, 6, 7, 800,000 pounds. You want to give them 100,000 pounds each to give them a leg up on the property ladder. That can be done quite easily using equity release, and like I said, at very competitive rates. That's a common situation that we come across now, where people want to make gifts during their lifetime. Another situation that we'll see is like the one that I said, where we use a drawdown product. And a drawdown product is really interesting because what will happen in that situation is that the equity release provider will underwrite an amount of credit that they'd be willing to extend against the house. So you can kind of think about it a bit like a credit line.
Yeah.
So if you were to approach and say, I've got a gap in my retirement planning, my cash flow shows that there's going to be a period of 4 or 5 years where I don't have any income coming in, my state pension's not coming in until, let's say, 67, I don't want to start drawing on my pension for those years because I need that to grow for longer. I want to keep that later on in life, or I want to keep it because of the inheritance tax characteristics of it. We can actually set up a product where we would have approval for a certain amount of a loan, up to perhaps a limit of maybe 40% of the value of the house for someone over their in the range of 60 plus. And they would simply then look to take that money on an annual basis to plug that gap that there is in their income. Each one of those loans then is fixed for life. So each tranche of money they take down will be fixed for life. And they can also have the option now of perhaps paying that interest as it comes in. Equity release providers have optional payment mortgages where you can decide to pay as much of the interest as you can afford. Pay nothing at all, it becomes your standard roll-up loan where interest compounds over time. Flexible payments. All of these options are there now to preserve the value of the equity in the house when you're looking at your estate planning and how much you want to pass on to your beneficiaries. So because of the range of products has exploded and because of the flexibility that's there, it certainly is an area now which requires the assistance of a financial planner who is specialised in giving that advice. I think in conjunction with pension planning, cash flow modelling and estate planning, it's a very powerful tool for people to use.
Thank you, Lawrence. And as Lawrence says, there's an array of products on the market and it's key to take proper advice. So again, if you need any further information, contact us here at Raffingers and we'll be pleased to help. Thank you for listening.